Moving on now, this is the next battle line between the Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung and Chief Minister of the state Arvind Kejriwal. Now, the office of the LG, Najib Jung, has now issued a directive on Kejriwal's instructions to officers not to route files through the LG's office. Emphasizing his authority, the Lieutenant Governor's office has asked for the order by Chief Minister's office to be withdrawn. The directive says that officials must follow the constitution and establish norms, and that the role of the Chief Minister and his Council of Ministers is to aid and advise the Lieutenant Governor. The clarification also asserted that the LG is entitled to act solely on his own discretion, and all files relating to making of law should come to his office.
केजरीवाल जी किसी चीज़ को नहीं मानते हैं, वो तो खुद कहते हैं मैं अनार्किस्ट हूँ, हाँ मैं हूँ। तो ये अनार्किज्म जो है केजरीवाल जी का बहुत लंबा नहीं, वो धीरे धीरे बहुत आम आदमी पार्टी एक्सपोज हो चुकी है, और मुझे लगता है एलजी से उलझना इनका ठीक नहीं होगा, इनकी और मार्केट डाउन आएगी। विद इन पार्टी तो आ ही चुकी है, जो अंदर का गंदगी नज़र आई है, अब ये सब बातें भी नज़र आएंगी। तो दिल्ली के लिए मैं तो कंसर्न फील करती हूँ, जिन्होंने इतना विश्वास दिया, प्रचंड बहुमत दिया, उनका बहुत बड़ा कंसर्न है।
Let's now go across to Kamaljeet Sandhu, who's reporting from the national capital. Morning, Kamal. Can you just first, for the benefit of our viewers, tell us what the factual position really is as far as the files and making law in the Delhi government is concerned? Can Kejriwal, on his own, order that no files should perhaps go to the Lieutenant Governor and, the decisions should be taken by the state government? What does the law say?
Sanket, it's quite very unusual for a chief minister to actually put an order like that, and obviously governor throwing the rule book at Kejriwal. But definitely there are clear-cut rules and regulations as far as the chief minister's role is concerned, a clear-cut case for the governor. Here, what Kejriwal has demanded is that even before the file reaches the governor's table, it should be routed through him. Now, that is very unusual as far as GNCTT rules are concerned. And now, obviously, being also the capital of the country as well as another state, the Delhi has obviously different rules and regulations. The law and order as per is a state subject, but not in case of Delhi. So obviously it's the governor who's basically a representative of the president here in Delhi. So definitely rules do not apply to Delhi the way it applies to the rest of the country. But the fact remains that with Kejriwal coming to the power, he wants to take certain decisions. He wants to be aware of certain decisions. This is also about keeping a certain control and access to himself. But this is obviously simply not done, because as per the rules and regulations, if there are files which are supposed to be going to the governor, it has to be gone through him and not through the chief minister at all. So a clear wedge between the Aam Aadmi Party and the governor. We've seen that earlier also in the first stint during UPA's time also, when there was this entire power tussle. So yes, there is going to be a lot of furor which is going to be caused, but at this point of time, an edge to the LG, Najib Jung, who's thrown the rule book at Kejriwal.
So what you're saying is that the rules, Kamaljeet, what you're saying is that the rules are stacked in favor of the Lieutenant Governor. Again, I mean, because this is a technical story, it's a complicated story as to who is in the right and who's playing politics. If you could just reiterate once again, the Lieutenant Governor is the representative of the centre, involving as far as the state is concerned. Of course, Delhi is a very complicated state. It's not acquired the full statehood, and that is why these confusions actually keep coming in the past. If you could just tell us a little as to who's the reporting authority of the Lieutenant Governor, and why would you go ahead and say that in this particular case, he's in the right?
Well, as per as rules are concerned, as I mentioned to you earlier, the rules are very defined. The chief minister has a certain role to play. He cannot interfere with the working condition of the governor. But here we've seen there have been certain clashes, especially regarding Delhi police, whether we're talking about the conditions of working of the MCD, the NDMC. So these are areas where the centre has a larger role to play. Now, the governor really has a certain segment. Obviously, certain files which are coming to him are something which is obviously directed towards the centre and in particular to the Home Ministry. Here, Arvind Kejriwal doesn't have a role to play. And what Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party, like other political parties, have also been demanding is a larger role of the state government and perhaps larger powers to the state government, which at this point of time they certainly do not have. But yes, even before they take a particular decision, they cannot change the rules and regulations just suddenly. The GNCDD rules are very clear. There are certain segments where the Chief Minister will have a role to play in terms of how he governs the state. But yes, the governor has a certain other role to play, which is obviously directing how the president obviously manages the entire state through the governor itself, especially the Home Ministry, especially the case of Delhi police, agencies like the NDMC, the MCD. There are obviously other rules here. But yes, Kejriwal at this point of time not only wants to keep himself in the loop, he also wants to have a stake in decision making. Now, this is something which is not really undesirable. There are chief ministers who obviously want to be in the know of things, but in Delhi, it simply doesn't work this way.
Absolutely.
If he has to have a certain fight, he'll have to take the fight to the parliament, he'll have to take the fight to the centre. But at this point of time, the rule book clearly favours the governor.
Absolutely. It's an unusual, state. Is Arvind Kejriwal, the next follow-up question is Arvind Kejriwal trying to make a political point by creating this point of, a conflict point between the Lieutenant Governor? Is this a political point that he's trying to make just to make sure that his voice is heard, that see, this is like a tectonic shift that is happening in Delhi, eventually building a case towards full statehood of Delhi, which, by the way, is part of his manifesto?
Well, Sanket, if you remember day one when Kejriwal became the chief minister, he went to the home minister, he met the prime minister. So obviously he did come outside and say that he wanted a full statehood, giving an assurance that Rajnath Singh had given a certain confirmation. We spoke to home ministry officials later. They denied that sort of talk really happened. So yes, there seems to be an uncomfortable equation as far as BJP and the Aam Aadmi are concerned. Now, the obviously part is about taking this entire fight forward. Now, this is something which even the BJP had promised in its manifesto, giving full statehood, which also means greater power to the chief minister. But here it's simply not happening because nothing really has moved so far. This at this point of time is obviously a certain posturing which has been done. This is also a directive which has been given by the chief minister. The image that the Aam Aadmi Party so far have got is of an honest chief minister, but definitely with a certain controversies coming in with their own party members pointing fingers at them. Things have become a little uncomfortable. But right now the chief minister clearly wanting the government officers to keep the chief minister himself in the loop. This perhaps could be certainly difficult, especially if he's stepping on the toes of the governor.
Is he asking for something which legally is his right, Arvind Kejriwal, or is he trying to make a political point here to take this entire matter forward? Kamaljeet Sandhu there decoding, telling us what the law is, what the factual position is, and what really is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal trying to do. We also ran those graphics to show you what Arvind Kejriwal's point of view is and what the Lieutenant Governor is actually saying. We'll track this story in greater detail in just a short moment from now.